So in alchemy and psychology and yoga, there are similar terms, and one of those being individuation or self-realization. And in alchemy, this would perhaps even be the transmutation of the alchemical gold. But one could say it's also an inner gold within oneself. And the correlation to awakened beings, such as Jesus Christ or the Buddha, that we have these examples to look up to, and they offer us something to aspire to within ourselves, as opposed to being symbols of higher power structures, which that is a reality, and to accept that is to accept something about oneself, and to not project onto the outer structures something that we feel within ourselves, and at the same time understanding that no one can mediate authority to something that is already accessible within oneself, and that is a sacred universal teaching of one's own self, of understanding the awareness of what one is or who one is. And this common question comes up in the mystery wisdom schools, that who am I? And this is a question of the individualized awareness and the identity and the merging of that identity with something greater than ourselves. And the quality, even just like I am infinite or I am love, something simple. And this idea of these great awakened beings, or in the case of the Christian religion, mythology, and stories, that Jesus is the Son of God, and there's this deep transcendent connection of Jesus Christ being both a man and somehow transcending beyond that. And that is, for each person, to be able to be in their own religion or belief system and be able to receive that for how it resonates with you. And just that the Christ consciousness, or even that our experience of consciousness and awareness of anything that is beyond the physical world, it could just be our reflection of it when we reflect on it. And essentially anything that you would consider the human experience. So we interact with objects that we could measure scientifically in some way, but the human condition and the human experience is a little different than the physical world in some ways. So this is what we have normally in many ways called spirituality, and then that's where the structure of religion has been placed. And then these three ideas of yoga, psychology, and alchemy all coming into play in the mix of this whole story that's unfolding for humankind and awakening and evolving understanding. And there's the alchemy of the elements, of how that correlates to the nervous system and the energy centers, what are known as the chakras in the spine, correlating to the various organs and their elements as defined by Chinese medicine and Ayurveda and other systems, that we have the various elements within us, and that correlates to our disposition, and even, of course, our connection to the stars and our ability to understand and know ourselves in the vastness of the cosmos, with something simple like astrology and what was classically called the harmony of the spheres, or the understanding that if we can tune into this energy within ourselves of the water element, the fire element, the air element, the earth element, the sound element even, and the light element. That energy from starlight condenses into essentially space dust, and then those primary molecules are then formed into gases when they condense on planetoids or planets like Earth, and then those gases condense even further into liquids like water, and then those liquids condense further. Eventually, the minerals are calcined or purified out of the liquid and then condense into rocks and other minerals. So we have this transition from light, literally just pure light, all the way to the densest form of matter on Earth. And this is the process of alchemy, of understanding that everything is energy. This is E equals mc squared, that we understand that everything has its source in light, essentially. And as we see this world as, even from the atomic viewpoint, even atoms are mostly empty space. Like the nucleus of an atom is like a golf ball in a baseball stadium. So our entire world, even already to Newtonian, or up through our atomic physics, not including quantum physics, even says that everything's mostly empty space. But then with Einstein, understanding that energy equals mass times the speed of light squared, we can see the direct relationship between mass or matter, light, and energy. So the only thing that can have infinite light is something that has infinite mass. And so when we are in this state of understanding the quantum field and our ability to tap into the energy of this field that is all around us, and you could call it whatever you like. A simple word that comes from ancient China is just the Tao, that the yin yang exemplifies the dynamics of the quantum realm quite elegantly. And there are many definitions and descriptions from quantum physics that are almost in a mysterious way so similar to the ancient texts from 3,000 years ago, 5,000 years ago, from ancient China, from ancient Egypt, from different places, India, etc. So there's an ongoing discovery that is being interlinked and interwoven beyond our immediate perception of time scales as we think of them. And this ties into our greater connection to the stars and the galaxy, and perhaps our ability to become an interstellar or intergalactic species, something like that, where perhaps that's a trajectory for the human race, or perhaps who knows. But enjoying the ability to imagine and perceive grand and vast futures beyond one's own lifetime for the sake of enjoyment in a fun moment. It gives us a point to reflect on back in the practicality of everyday life and how we orient ourselves towards a goal. So when we reflect on individuation or self-realization, or even what in psychology classically Maslow's hierarchy of needs calls self-actualization, this is our ability to tap into the present moment and really be with that as much as we can, and to be in that pure realm of no thought of past or future. Everything is in the experience as we have it, and we are giving ourselves to that with our completeness and fullness of our hearts, and the love for the preciousness of this gift of life. And as we tune into that space, it can go infinitely deeper and deeper and deeper. And this is what even Einstein said, that many physicists understood, that past, present, and future are relativities, that they're in many ways, even at the understanding of physics in the early 1900s, that time and space are an illusion, and there is a deeper layer of reality that is perhaps a simpler yet infinitely more powerful superstructure, that this is a thought of, or a dream of, or a holographic mathematical projection of, and that we're all understanding how to give with our hearts to reconnect ourselves into this superstructure of infinite awareness, what we would call consciousness, as the prima materia in an alchemical term, as the fabric of the universe, as Brian Greene might say, the renowned physicist. So we tune into this awareness of ourselves and everything around us as light, as an undifferentiated field of light. That what Yogananda once said was that when he saw a projection, he saw the hero and a villain on a movie screen in a theater, and the theater was showing the villain and the hero, and then he looked back at the projector and saw that those were both just a projection, that the whole world was just a projection. All of the different varied experience were all coming from one single source. And so as we understand that single source as an undifferentiated field of light, this gives us perhaps some insight into what Isaac Newton was getting at when he discovered chemistry and calculus and made some of the greatest revolutions in modern science by studying alchemy and other scientific practices of knowing oneself, knowing God, knowing the eternal consciousness that is beyond this world, that we are all a spark of, and to be connected to that deeply, for it's our birthright to know that, and that it's not about creed or dogma or religion or defining terms, or there's this process of everyone is allowed to know their potential and to awaken to that, and to not have anybody take that from them, and that we're all in this together to help each other. Like Ram Dass would say, we're all just walking each other home. And they say home is where the heart is. So there's no grand philosophy beyond kindness and humility and doing one's best to be a loving and aware person. And this gives us a great foundation to expand from in all our experiences of life, and that we can be a living, walking, breathing meditation on the experience of unity, and that experience of the projector is non-duality, of everything being the experience of oneness as an undifferentiated field of light, and that this is the classical experience of many yogis. And to share this is a great honor, and to be open to receiving this as well is a great honor. And so this is a experience of sharing and understanding that we don't need to put others down or on a pedestal. We don't need to put ourselves in a position of superiority or inferiority. That when we play our part, when we're not doing someone else's job, we're just here in the present moment, that we're enjoying the experience, and we're bringing more joy to this world, which in many ways is one of the greatest, simplest things that anyone can do, is to just bring more love, more joy, more happiness and peace to this world, and to give that energy and that vibration as a friend to not just your friends, and to really expand it out to the whole of the world. And even Einstein said that man has basically been placed in a prison of separation, of ego identity, and to free ourselves from this is to awaken and to share the circle of compassion, or spread our circle of compassion with all beings and all of nature. That was a deep paraphrase. And so, as we reflect on who we are and why we're here, it's just a matter of feeling the love in your heart, the energy in your being, feeling gratitude for everything in your experience, for what you appreciates. So focusing on the beautiful things to grow the beauty in yourself, to magnetize and attract those things that are true to your heart's desire. And letting go in the process, letting yourself receive, knowing that when you give, that you receive infinitely greater. And yet it's in the giving that we let go. And that when we let go, we're free. Oh.